This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we are recording now. So welcome everyone to the first session on SRE and Cloud PE course. So this is what you see right now on your screen. I hope my screen is visible and you see some my Google Drive, and I hope you guys see Cloud PE February 2023, some slides and some documents. Could you guys confirm? Any one of you? Yes? Can I get a confirmation from any one of you? Okay, thank you, Kumar. So this is how we're gonna share the material. So as you see right now, whatever we are seeing, so we have all the courses as per the course curriculum that we have discussed over the last week. We understood about the course that we have, the about the SRE, the course, and the Cloud PE course, right? So we're gonna uh, do the live sessions as well as we're going to share a lot of PPTs, documents for you to refer. For example, so I'm going to start with the cloud. So today is the day one. So where we start with the cloud and we'll introduce the cloud and we'll take it forward from there, right? So as you have like as last weekend we have gone over the plan. So how we are planning to take this course journey because it's going to be a quite an extensive one. Okay. So the first topic that we're going to take is the cloud, right? So we're going to start with the cloud. And First of all, we all understand what is cloud and what is cloud computing, why cloud computing, and we need to understand the difference between the what is the difference between on-prem and the cloud. What is that difference, right? So without we need to first understand why we're learning cloud. So we can only understand that when we understand this on-prem meaning, right? Why what's on-prem, and then we can understand the importance of cloud and we can take it forward. Right? So that's the first topic that we're going to take along. So this is going to take around definitely 2 weekends. We'll spend on the cloud, rigorous, full. We'll talk about a lot of things on the cloud part, right? Then along the same time, my team would be sharing a Linux recorded session with you. Okay, so when we are going over the cloud part, around 2 to 3 weekends, I would say definitely 2 to 3 weekends, because we're talking about AWS and we'll talk about a lot of things in AWS. And just be rest assured, if you have never worked on the cloud technology or never worked on the cloud platform, if you have no idea on the cloud, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. We're going to take care. So that's how this course is designed from the very scratch, right? And during this process, my team would be sharing a recorded session on the Linux. So that I would expect you to know. And that's a very simple recorded sessions for you to be aware of the Linux command operating system. How do we navigate in Linux? Like whatever we do in Windows, right? I know that most of us are comfortable with Windows. We know how to navigate in Windows. How do we search for a text in a file in a Windows? How do we zip multiple files in a Windows, right? But are we comfortable doing the same stuff, right? Do we know what is the file permission? How to do that? Chown, chmod, right? We need to understand those things, right? Vi commands, right? And some useful sed command, or how do we do like simple stuff. So Linux would be the recorded session. So 3 hours of this recording, 3 to 4 hours. So my team would be sharing that with you. So you are supposed to uh, cover that during the same time. It's going to be a self-paced. So and I would expect you to cover that. Okay. So that's the expectation, and we'll continue with our cloud, right? So along this, so we are going with the cloud. We'll start after the cloud part. We'll start with the microservices part. Microservices. We'll talk about Docker. We'll talk about containers. We'll talk about Kubernetes. We talk about a lot of things. So again, this is going to take 3 weekends for sure, right? For sure, right? And during this process, so because a lot of topics, a lot of discussions needs to happen. A lot of things that you need to know. What is microservices? How it is different from monolithic applications? How do we create how do we create containers? Where should we deploy the microservices? What is Docker, right? And when you have a lot of containers, how to orchestrate the containers using Kubernetes, right? That's container orchestration engine. So we'll talk about that, right? So this is what I'm explaining you right now, the course journey. That's how we're gonna talk about it, so that you have absolutely clear set mindset that how we're gonna talk about it, right? So this is gonna go be course journey. That's how we're going to progress, and we're going to take this learning session together, right? During this process, again, my team would be sharing Java P recorded sessions, because we'll be going over it. You guys need to practice, and we'll be meeting over the weekend. So meanwhile, there is something for you. So my team would be sharing that self-paced. So you're supposed to cover that all the Java performance engineering stuff. What is heap dump? How do we analyze heap dump? How do we take heap dump, thread dump, analyze that? How do we analyze that? What is JVM architecture, GC log analysis, and with some good examples, right? So that's how it's planned. So it's very thoughtfully designed course that we have, right? So once this is done, right? So 3 weekends here, 3 weekends here, we'll start our journey on the DevOps part, right? We'll talk what is DevOps, right? It's going to be again live sessions. What is DevOps, and we'll talk about a lot of things in DevOps. We'll talk about automation. We'll talk about Jenkins in DevOps, how performance engineering fits in DevOps, how performance engineering fits in DevOps, right? So Jenkins we'll talk about Ansible, we'll talk about Terraform, right? Uh, it's going to take definitely again 2 to 3 weekends, I would say. Right? And then we'll talk about SRE, right? We'll talk about database, how AWS works on the database part, SRE part. So what is SRE? What is SLO? What is SLIs? What is reliability? What is fault tolerance? What is high availability? What how do we do incident management? Those concepts in the SRE part. We'll talk about again here itself in this part itself. So we'll talk about uh, after this. So this is gonna take roughly one session or two session, right? One session. That's one session on this part, and then we'll talk about the cloud database part, database performance, cloud database performance. So this is how our course is designed. Entire thing is designed. So I would say these 3 weekends. So 2 weekends is enough. Yeah, performance, cloud database performance. So again, one session here. Because our one session would be around 2 hours, right? So that's how this is the course design. So this is going to take around 2 months, 2 months, I would say 9 to 10 weekends, consider like that. And that's how it's designed. And along this, when you're going over all of these things, so my team would be sharing a lot of things with you. The Python recorded sessions, the Java recorded sessions, Python recorded sessions, and Java recorded sessions for you to uh, get expertise on the language part. That's how it's designed. So I'll talk about, and there is some special thing that I'm planning on talk about Python scripting and uh, shell scripting in detail. I'm trying to drafting some PPTs for you to be handy, so that we understand what all different use cases we can automate. Different use cases, trying to just list all the use cases that we can automate, that we should consider using Python or shell scripting for the automation, right? Use cases for automation. So I'm gonna I have this work in progress. So I would not commit to that now, but hopefully I'll be able to complete this part. Anyway, I can just tell you upfront, but I'm just putting that in a PPT so that it's documented, right? So that's work in progress right now that I'm drafting right now, but I can explain you right now in just giving you a few examples, I can tell you, but the official documentation, I would say, uh, is in progress. So that's how this entire course, if you just analyze this course, right? Yes, it's gonna take some time and weekends for sure, but it's worth the time because that's how the industry expects all everything from you. If you are particularly in a senior six plus so 6+ experience, right? If you're being trying to be a performance, if you are a performance tester or a system admin, right? So that the industry expects you to know all of these things to take you to the next level, and everything is expected. Nothing is left here. You need to know all of those things if you want to be uh, take your career to the next level, right? Everyone is expected. I hope you would agree with me, right? All the senior folks. I hope few senior folks here in this group. I hope you all agree that yes, everything is expected right now. Is anybody would like to
Absolutely,
share their thought?
Roshan. Yes, yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yes, the course is definitely designed in such way. But my only thing or a question here is on the SRE part. One session. Do you think you can cover the entire thing on one
Okay,
session?
this is see SRE when I say SRE, right? So we need to understand. Okay, it's not like one session. Okay, so
Hmm.
let me take it this way. Okay, so when I wrote one session, uh, we have a slide. Okay, so mostly it takes two sessions, 1 weekend. Okay, I meant to say 1 weekend. Okay, hold on. I meant it. I wanted to say 1 weekend. It's going to take two sessions for sure. Okay. Because see, right now I have mentioned it, but we have so this is going to take database performance, right? So one session. This is correctly put. Okay. So what I'm going to show you, Kumar, is what we have planned. Okay. If you look at the SRE part, right? So this is what we have planned. So when I say SRE part, so what when I'm saying one session, when I wrote one session, this slide is what I meant for you
Hmm.
to know the terminologies. What is different words that we have in the industry, right? SRE is full of everything. So nothing, you cannot separate SRE with other things. SRE, when you say
Yeah,
you
I
need to know
agree.
troubleshooting, you need to know database, right? When I say one session, the terminologies, I mostly focus on the terminologies. Do you understand what is SLI? SLO,
Hmm.
SLA, or do you understand what is incident management, or do you understand what is the roles and responsibility of an SRE engineer, or do you understand what is incident management? So for you to understand those meanings, right? I wrote one session. So just to be aware, right? So that's what I meant with one session. If you look at
Okay.
this particular PPT that we have designed here, that's this talks about that. So the SRE plus DevOps, right? The terminologies, deployment strategy that we have. Again, it's going to take two sessions. Okay, if 1.5 hours to 2 hours, it's going to take two sessions. So again, if it's taking time, I'm not saying that I'm not going to talk about that. So we have everything designed here, and if it takes two sessions, right? It all depends how long it takes and how many questions you have. But we have everything listed here. Okay, if it takes one session or two sessions, doesn't matter. Okay, so
Yeah.
don't worry about
My
that. So we have.
Yeah, yeah. The question was like, say for an example, SRE, Grafana or Kibana you deploy, and you run a real time application on it, and see how we can really do a monitoring on it, things like that. Is that also covered,
Okay,
Roshan?
yes, I think I have not listed that right. So yes,
Hmm.
I think I missed one topic on the observability. Definitely, I missed it
Yes,
here.
observability.
So,
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
have totally missed it. So it is in the course curriculum. Okay, we have observability as well, and we are talking about Prometheus, okay,
Hmm.
and Grafana and ELK. Okay, so we do talk about this, and we do have slides for this. Okay, I just missed to call that out. Okay, we
Oh,
do
okay.
have
Okay.
things here. Okay, so yeah, and we have this in the course curriculum as well. If you look at observability in bold letters, we have this. So yeah, I just missed. So yes, it's gonna take some time. what my focus is. It's going to take some time, so definitely two sessions here. So yeah, how do we install and how do we monitor things? Yeah, it's going to take some time. 10 to 12 weekends I should add now. But at the end, we're going to learn a lot of things, right? So don't come. I have seen people talking about it's too long a course. Yes, what to do? We have so many things to cover, right? uh, we cannot make it short, right? That's what my the entire point was. So be rest assured that we're going to learn a lot, and we're going to meet in the weekends and keep some time, 2 hours dedicated over the weekends to go over all of those things, right? And I can just guarantee that in this 3 months of this time of you me explaining and we learning together, you're gonna have a different perspective or different learning altogether, right? That's what I can assure you of that.
Roshan,
Sounds
Vamsi this side. Sorry to
go
disturb
ahead.
you. I have few
No,
queries.
no, go ahead.
May I know what are the concepts that we are covering as part of SRE 2 sessions, apart from basic understanding of SLOs, SLEs?
Again, when you say SRE, right? So
Hmm.
again, observability, it's not like, so don't say two sessions. I just mentioned two sessions for understanding the terminologies. Do you think observability is not part of SRE? Or do
There
you
are things that,
think that
there are so many things in SRE, right? So I would like to
exactly
understand what are the concepts we are covering in SRE.
right? So that's what
I
I'm
would like
trying
to
to tell
know
you.
a high level understanding of the concepts. None, that's it.
That's what I
Yeah.
was showing you
Yeah.
the slides, right? That's what I was explaining you in the slides. That in those one or two sessions, we're going to talk about a lot of things. So, what do we understand of these words, first of all? Reliability, or we're going to talk about a lot of things here. How do we optimize the cost, or how do we secure our applications, or how do we make sure what is performance efficiency? So how do you well architect framework? So it starts from there, right? On the architecture framework, and then we're going to talk about the different, how, what is SRE and DevOps, what is the difference here, right? Because people, a lot of things people think that, oh, it's just the same. Yes, but there is a difference. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about different deployment strategies that we have. Because see, understand where the job of an SRE engineer starts. We need to all understand this. So now, to help you understand this, the word SRE and DevOps, we need to understand there's a difference between SRE and DevOps. DevOps engineers that we have in the organization talks about or deals with deploying the solution in the production.
Mhm.
So they are supposed to deploy the code which developer has written to the production. But when it comes to SRE, our role, SRE engineer role, starts from there. We need to make sure the performance is highly available, reliable, customers escalations, customer issues, customer experience, all comes under the bracket of the domain of SRE. That's the purview, that's the work. So we need to understand the first of all, what are different deployment strategies, because things may go wrong in the deployment itself. If things goes wrong in the deployment, let's say somebody has deployed a solution, or an image, and let's say application performance is not behaving well all of a sudden, how do you control that, right? So we need to understand deployment strategies. So it starts from here. So what are different deployment strategy that we have, and how do we roll back, and so many things. So we'll talk about that. Again, now we have these very fancy terminologies that we need to understand as an SRE engineer. What is SLA, SLO, SLIs? What are the differences here that we have, right? And
Yeah.
then right. So, and then we have error budgets. So, do we really understand these things? Because when it comes to production and making sure the application is highly available, reliable, and we have the best customer experience, we need to understand these things, because these things are part of the SLAs that customer has signed, and we need to meet these SLAs, right? And as per the objective set, we need to talk about that, right? And then let's say, and something happens, something bad happens. How do you handle that? If any ticket comes, let's say response time is high, or you're getting this kind of error message in the log, in the production log, how do you handle this, right? And what should you do? What is the process to follow in the production? Because in production, there are so many things can go wrong, right? So how do you handle an incident any incident. It could be services down, production not available, customer is complaining, a lot many things could happen. So how do you handle this? So we need to understand how do we manage the incident. That's what the most important thing in production, because you understand this. When you talk about SRE, consider yourself you're working in production systems, no more non-production environment, because that's the difference between a performance engineer and SRE engineer. Performance engineers work in a very secure non-production environment. They don't deal with the real production issues, right? We performance engineer mostly benchmark the application. Let's say one image, one application has upgraded from one version to another version. So performance engineer would test it and will check, okay, looks good performance wise, we don't have any degradation, we can move on and you can deploy the code to production. But SRE engineers, they work in production system. So we need to talk about alerting. How do we set alerting? That again comes under the incident management and observability. How do you set up monitoring? So alerting, observability will come under that. So how do you set up alerts, efficient alerts, and how do you handle the incident? That's one very important use case in SRE, right? So
Yeah.
again, we need to
So are
understand
we,
what the change management. Yes.
yeah, yeah. So my point is, yeah, I got to know that you guys are actually covering all those concepts. Is it specific for the concept that we are actually understanding, or do we also have a real-time application that which we are deploying, and we need to understand what are the deployment challenges that which we see, what are the change
No, when you
management that we need to follow? Are we covering as part of a real-time application that which we are playing with, or it is just a concept level understanding?
yeah, it's a concept level understanding that we need to
Okay.
understand that these are the things that we have in a SRE perspective, and we need to take care of these things, right? So
Mhm.
production issues, and we are not going to do a hands-on on these aspects, change management, or we're going to talk about different deployments, the issues that we can happen, right? So different deployment strategy that we have. So it's not going to be a live session that something has gone wrong. See, if I tell you how to roll back, that we'll talk about in Kubernetes, let's say, how to roll back in.
Mhm.
So if you know how, what now you need to roll back, so you know the command to roll back. I don't need to tell you explicitly now use this command to roll back, because we have already covered that in the Kubernetes session. How do you roll back? So
No, no.
it's,
My point is in terms of observability, are we playing with any tools, understanding,
yes,
installing those
observability,
tools?
we will have tools, right? We'll talk about
Mhm.
Prometheus, Grafana, we'll talk about ELK, we'll talk about that.
So are we playing with the tool, understanding the behavior of the tool,
We know,
where we go?
we would know how to use the tool, how to
Mhm.
deploy the tool, how to use the tool.
Okay. So that
Up,
is again
you
a
are
concept
seeing,
level.
no, yeah, we're gonna see the tool. We're gonna work on the tool.
Okay.
We can check at the alerts. We're gonna look at the monitoring. How do we set up? How do we monitor things? We're gonna look into
Okay.
those things.
Okay. Are we covering anything related to resilience or chaos as well?
Again, so chaos, again, we need to know what is chaos testing. And resilience, again, it's all about resilience. How do we, so we'll talk about auto scaling anyway. We'll talk about managed services anyway. So, and resilience, we can talk about the concepts here. What do we mean by chaos testing, right? So we're going to talk about that. Again, if you're thinking about just a tool, again, a dedicated tool, so that's not a chaos testing engineering course here. So we're going to talk about the concepts here and how do we do chaos testing. We'll talk about use cases here.
Okay. Got it.
I'm just trying to be very much clear here so that we don't have any differences in the understanding what the course is. This course is designed for a very base, like if nobody has know anything about the cloud, right? This course is designed for them and to take them to the next level. If you already working in a very competitive environment looking for a like this kind of hands-on chaos testing and advanced level things, again, we are there, right? But again, you need to understand that this course talks about the from very basics, what is cloud. We'll take it from there, and we need to cover a lot of things. So our the flow that we have, when I say microservices, Docker containers, against very basics. So you may know a lot of those things if you're already working in an environment, but we're gonna talk about from very scratch. This course is designed basically for the people who do not know cloud, who do not know microservices, Docker, never heard of those things, or working in an environment, or never get to work because there are some other people working as a DevOps engineer and they want to learn things. So this course is designed for them basically, and for them to understand what is SRE, roles and responsibilities, what should we do, those level of understanding, right? So yeah. So yeah, that's so on the change management, and then we have the roles and responsibilities. What are different roles and responsibilities of an SRE engineer, right? So that's in the purview, right? On the observability part, as I was explaining, we have two tools we're gonna cover: Prometheus and Grafana. We're going to use Helm chart to install it. Again, Helm chart, if you know Kubernetes, you would understand what is Helm. It's the package manager. It's fine if you don't know, okay, guys. So we're going to use Helm chart here to install and work through Kubernetes. We're going to talk about a lot of panels that we can create, different panels. Again, you are a performance engineer. I don't need to tell you CPU, memory, disk, process level, CPU, memory, disk, how to set this up, right? You know this. I'm gonna just create a dashboard for you here to just show you those things. Again, I'm gonna show you ELK here. I'll use here the Docker Compose. Don't worry if you don't understand the word Docker Compose. We'll talk about Docker here. So we're going to use Docker Compose to install Elk and see how do we monitor, how do we analyze logging here, logs here. So we'll talk about that here, okay, as part of observability. On the database part, we'll talk about the cloud database that we have, not just the relational but non-relational. The what is how the difference, right? Uh, the traditional approach, what we have, we used to have the EC2 instance, let's say server you have, and you're installing the database, right, on that. So when you work on the cloud, no more installation. The installation is no more a headache in the cloud. It's all automated, the managed services, right? That's how it is in the cloud part. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about here the relational databases that we have, RDS, and non-relational databases that we have, like we have MongoDB compatibility, DocumentDB, and we have DynamoDB. So we'll talk about that here, right? So that's the course curriculum that we have, guys. Any more questions before we get started on the course journey? Are we all good? I hope we are all clear on the how we're gonna proceed on this. Any questions, guys? Please feel free to ask me. That would be the right time to ask me any questions on the course. Sounds good? Please give me a thumbs up, guys, if you're all good. Shall we proceed? Okay, Kumar says yes. How about others?
Yes.
Okay, Manisha, thank you. Okay, guys, so let's get started. Okay, perfect. Good, Sai. Good. So that's the plan, guys. Okay, that's how we're gonna talk about it. So I'm going to create a folder now for all of you. Okay, what I'm gonna do, and I'm going to save this file. That's how we're gonna plan. Okay, I'm gonna just create a folder here. Okay, I'm gonna put this in our create let me just create it right away. I'm gonna give access to all of you, those would be enrolling. Okay. Okay. We okay, guys. So that's our. I'm going to share this link with all of you, and our all the things would be whatever the the links, the documents that we're gonna share will be coming here. Okay. So I'll be sharing a lot of links, guys, and a lot of documents with you. Okay. So let me just start with one of the existing documents that we have. Okay, so before I get started on the cloud, okay, I would like to know, is anybody working on the cloud environment here? Any cloud? Do we all understand? How many of you understand cloud here? I have a question for them. Feel free, okay? We are going to make it interactive session. The end, the goal is to learn here. That's the main goal, okay? And we're going to learn in a different way. So, guys, I would like to know who is working on the cloud environment.
I'm working on GCP.
GCP, DZ, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
GCP.
Any
Yeah,
cloud.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I would like to just simple ask a question, like as I always ask with one start with a simple question. So we know cloud, right? We know working on the cloud. I would like you to explain me the difference between on-prem and the cloud. It could be as simple as possible. I just need a clear-cut difference. Why you are working on GCP cloud? That's fine, good. But what is on-prem and what is cloud? The difference.
So initially, application server hosted physically. Right now, it is hosted in a virtual environment, and it is scaling up and scaling down as per the requirement. So, like in a basic, simple word, I can say that.
Okay, so you are saying on-prem is the virtualized environment. So cloud is not virtualized environment.
No, no, no. So on-prem is a physical environment. Cloud is a virtual environment.
Physical environment. I could not
We can have
understand.
we can have virtual on-prem as well.
Yeah. So physical environment you mentioned as on-prem, right? And you mentioning virtual as cloud.
Yeah.
I could not relate that. See, physical. Do you see? Do you think in the cloud environment we don't have physical servers?
We have, but when we get this access, we get it as a form of like a. So it is cloud is I would say like a connection of a machine hosted by. It is provided as a service by a service provider. So they will host it, and then we'll get access, and it is like a pay per use or whatever. We have different forms of service provided in cloud. So that's why I'm saying like they will host the environment for you, and then you will access it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you are there. Okay? You're able to understand. I'll just give you a better perspective. Okay. Uh, I hope everybody understands the data center, right? Data center. We all understand. This is what I mean when I say data center. So consider a infrastructure in the outskirts of the city. What the way I'm showing you here, an infrastructure in the outskirts of the city, multiple acres of land, multi acres of land, and all the rooms. The infrastructure is filled of this kind of servers. I just want to make you understand how costly it is. These servers needs to be purchased. Somebody has to purchase these servers. The people, the person who's owning this infrastructure, the person has to first of all procure the land. It's costly, and they need to the person owning the data center, right, has to purchase all the servers. First of all, he has to construct all this infrastructure, the building. All the servers needs to be purchased, and these servers will generate a lot of heat. You know, your laptop generates heat. Consider million times servers of your laptop. So just imagine how much heat they would generate. So the cooling mechanism has to be set up, very costly again. These servers cannot run out of power. So multiple power switches, multiple power backups, power grid on its own, as you can see here, power grid here, multiple power backups, multiple own power supply, dedicated power supply. These servers cannot run out of internet, multiple internet service providers, dedicated one. And again, this facility has to be secure. So security, these servers will run out of can have some issues, so needs to be replaced frequently, so needs to be operated. So I hope you guys have understood, everybody has understood the cost part of it, how much cost it is involved to set up a data center, right? Billions of multi-billions of dollars goes there. Correct? I hope I hope everybody would agree. Correct? So much of infrastructure. That's what a data center looks like.
Yes.
So now, so now understand this. So take my words. So if you own, if I purchase, let's say it's my data center. Let's say, just imagine it's my data center. So it's on-prem for me. But if I give you to use this as a rent basis, let's say DZ approached me that Rasan, I want to use few servers. I will pay you. I'll pay monthly rent. Whatever the bill comes, I'll pay. So this becomes cloud for DZ. That simple it is. On-prem for me, cloud for DZ. So what is the difference here? Who owns it? That's the difference. So if you own the data center, that becomes on-prem. If you use someone else's data center, like AWS, Azure, Microsoft people, Google, they have set up data centers all across the globe. They have set it up. And what we're gonna do? We are paying, we are using their servers. We are not owning the servers that we use in GCP, Azure, or AWS. We are not owning it. We are using it for the timely bill, like a rent basis. As long as we pay rent, monthly bill, we can use the services. The moment we stop paying the rent, the services will be taken away. Like how we live on a rented apartment, right? That's how it is. As long as we are paying the rent, we can use the services like our own house, but it's not ours. We don't own the house. Same way the that works. That's the basic difference. It does not basically, it's not a rocket science, the cloud. I'll tell you the background. So on the AWS, Jeff Bezos, I hope everybody understand, the founder of Amazon.com and AWS. He was setting up the data center for Amazon.com, the website. Everybody knows that the retail website. He was setting up data center. In the process of setting up the data center, this idea came to his head that whatever he is doing, he is setting up a data center. Why can't everybody else can leverage this? So during the process of setting up the data center for Amazon.com, AWS idea came. Then he started using this. It's a business model. It's business model, right? So they have put a lot of infrastructure and they are continue to earn from so many people. That's the basic difference, nothing else. If you join a company, let's say you join in some place, Delhi, Bangalore, or Pune, but their data center is in US. We need to connect to VPN. Secure needs to be secure. We connect to the server. We call it on-prem because the company owns it. We call it on-prem. For us, does not matter. We are working in an infrastructure. Either you give your own server or you give AWS server. For us, does not matter. We're going to install the server, deploy our application, do the performance testing, performance analysis, like all the work. So that's the difference. Did we understand? Did our understanding of cloud and on-prem improved, guys? I hope everybody is clear now what is on-prem and the cloud. On the technical front, no difference. End of the day, it's data center itself and the servers, all the servers. End of the day, whether your company owns it or AWS, Azure, or GCP owns it. That's it. End of the day. So there's no difference at all. Yes. All the cloud service provider, they have given a beautiful management console. We'll talk about that. But at the bottom level, at the root level, no difference. Whether you own it or you don't own it, that's the only difference. Clear, everybody? Yeah, thumbs up. Hello, I'm not making sense, guys. I need some confirmation. I hope good. Okay, guys, perfect. So now we're gonna talk about similar cloud service provider. So in like we have major three cloud service provider. We have AWS from Amazon, we have Azure from Microsoft, and we have GCP, Google Cloud Platform from Google. These are the primary three cloud service providers we have. AWS was launched in 2007, right? They were the first ones to enter the market quite early, quite early, right? Then after 4 to 5 years we have Azure and GCP. AWS has the largest market share, around 40%. If you look at 40% of the company, the people use AWS. We'll talk about AWS, but nothing, it doesn't matter. Okay, if you know one, right? I have worked on three, so I can tell you for sure that start with one. I have also started with first AWS, and then I learn slowly. It's very easy to learn others, so nothing to worry. If you work on Azure or GCP, it's fine. But we'll talk about AWS here, but we'll talk about the respective services, right? Like DG would understand. So DG, for the servers, DG use compute engine, right? The name of the server. But in AWS we use EC2, right? And in Azure we use, somebody using Azure, we use virtual machine. End of the day, we need to get the server. The use case remains the same. What is the use case of using the cloud? Why we use cloud? We need to get the server. First use case. Why we use cloud, guys? Use cloud because I don't want to set up a data center of my own. I cannot do that. Right? Most people cannot do that. It's a very costly. So we need to get the servers. Why we need the servers? To deploy our application. To host our application, we need servers. That's the first use case of using the cloud. People use different names. That's fine, but it's just a server at end of the day. It's second, storage. I want to store a lot of data. Right? Storage. Primarily these two. We have other use cases as well. We'll talk about that. But primarily the servers and storage. If you take it like, why do I need to use cloud? Because I need servers, security. Obviously, security is the inherent thing I would expect from the cloud service provider. So use cases, right? That's what it is. And yeah, so let's come to the definition part. Okay, are we clear on this, guys? The use cases part. I hope you would agree that that's why we are using cloud, right? That's the main thing we use cloud for. It could be any service. It could be if today, if the company is, let's say they have their servers deployed in AWS. Let's say AWS is giving it costly. Let's say they are getting better deal in Azure or GCP. The company would not hesitate in switching, going to the Azure or GCP. People do that. People migrate from one cloud to another cloud because of the cost difference. Good that we have competition in the market at least. There's no monopoly at least. That's a good way, right? Because the servers mostly the entire if you look at any company monthly bill, right? The servers incur the maximum cost. 95% of the cost is incurred by the servers. 95%. Let's say if your monthly bill is, let's say, $50,000. Just imagine, like footprint, like the monthly bill, cloud monthly bill, your $45,000 plus minimum 45,000 would be from the servers itself. 90% for sure, just the servers. Other 10% would be used by load balancer and storage and other things, but 90% of the cost goes to the servers. And then obviously 4% here in the storage, because the more you store, bill would come accordingly. Right? 90% comes from servers. and other things are just less, right? We have other things as well. We need load balancer, we need IP, public IP, we need auto, we have other services we need, right? So that will come cost. But most of things comes servers. Right? So that's the use case. That's why we use cloud, because we don't want to set up this data center. It's so costly thing, right? So costly to set up this. Everybody cannot afford to do that, right? So okay, that's good. So what is cloud computing? How should we define? And why do we need cloud computing? So why cloud computing is simple, right? Obviously, I want to reduce the cost, scalability. Let's say today I'm using 5 servers. I'm starting up a company, my website, and let's say I'm using 5 servers. My business grew. I'm now global. More users are trying to use my application. Let's say I need more servers. With the click of a button, I can get more servers in the cloud. Scalability. I don't need to purchase the servers. If I'm on-prem, if I have on-prem, I have to purchase the servers, procure the servers, more servers. No, I cannot get it. I cannot return them. In the cloud, I started up with a few, let's say 100 servers. My business is not doing great. I can reduce my cloud footprint. I can come down to 100 servers to 20 servers. AWS would not mind. Okay, why you are using 100 now using 20? I want to use it. It's my wish. I can reduce, I can scale up, scale down depending on my requirement. Scalability is no more a headache in the cloud. With a click of a button, you can get 1,000 servers. Disaster recovery. People use cloud to recover, to the store the data. Even if the on-prem, those who have on-prem, they use cloud for the DR. They DR means the backup, right? They need to store the backup. Then that's from the backup only they will restore the data, right? So they used to use cloud for the DR. Security, data is secure here. Automatic software updates. You don't need to worry about the underlying infrastructure in the cloud, right? Cloud service provider responsibility is to maintain and always make the software up to date. If a server is not outdated, they need to replace it. As a user, I don't need to take that headache. Okay, my server is now, processor is Pentium 3 to Pentium 4. Now it's core to duo or it's quad core. I don't need to take a headache as a customer. The cloud service provider would do that upgradation, whatever the latest one they have, the best uh, uh, processor they have. I would get, I would just need to pay the monthly bill. That's all. And if they do not, if one of the cloud service provider will not give, I will go with the another one. If OCI of Oracle gives better deal and better servers, I would go with OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Right? People are using. So apart from these three, we have IBM, we have OCI, we have DigitalOcean in the market as well. They provide cloud service provider as well. Alibaba we have. It's so many. So okay, so that's what the cloud computing. So how do we define the cloud computing, guys? How should we define it? How should we define? Okay, I'll before we define, I want to show you something. So every cloud service provider, let's say you want some servers in AWS. How what would you do? How do you get the servers? Do you have to call them to some helpline number and ask for servers? What is the way? So every cloud service provider, they have given a beautiful management console. They have given a beautiful management console. All you have to do is to create an account. Go to aws.amazon.com. aws.amazon.com. Hit enter. Sign into the console, guys. If you don't have an account, sign up. Create an account. It's not like you have to call them that boss, I need some servers. You just, every cloud service provider, they have given us this platform. Using this platform, We can provision our own servers. We can deploy our own application. We can do our everything on our own. They have given this beautiful management console. All you need to do is to create an account here. So if you don't have an account, sign up. If you have an account, sign in. So if you don't have an account, create a new AWS account, guys. So guys, I'm gonna ask every one of you here, every one of us here, to use this link and create an account. You know where to go? aws.amazon.com. That's all. Amazon.com, I hope everybody knows. Use this subdomain aws.amazon.com. Sign in. If you don't have, create a new AWS account. Use your Gmail address. Just normal. How do you create Facebook account? Just do that. At the end, you need to give the credit card details. I can vouch that they will not misuse your credit card because I have doing it for many years now. So don't worry if they ask you credit card details. Just to test that you are a genuine authentic user. So do that. Just sign up, create a new AWS account. Just click on this and just sign up with your give your Gmail address here or root user, whatever Gmail address. Just verify, give some account name, verify, and just 10 minutes of process. You will have your account ready. You can do this right now, but I'm going to show you my account. I'm going to sign in to my account. So root user, IM user. I'm going to use root user. So because the email address that you would be using right now would be the root user. So I have given this email address as the root user. Next, password. I've set up a password. I'm going to use this. Click on enter. That's it. This is welcome to the management console. This is what they have given us. Management console. I just logged in to the management console of AWS. No, that's how it looks. I want you to explain this, but before, if you can create an account, you would be able to relate it better. Can you guys spend 5 minutes to create an account here right now? Everybody? Are we doing it? Okay, please do it. I'm going to give you 5 minutes so that you can relate better. When I explain this, you have your own account to just navigate around and feel comfortable. Select the free tier account, guys. So for 1 year, it's free. You will not be charged any amount. So trust me, if you follow my advice, you will not be incurring any amount for 1 year. So just feel free to create an account and just use credit card details. They would deduct ₹2 in INR 2. If you have an international card, $1 would be deducted. I think they would return back also. So just
I
create
have
an
a
account.
question. So should we get the basic support or the developer support plan?
Just select the basic one. Just select the
Okay.
basic one and select the free tier. Yeah.
Okay.
Apart from Manisha, is others also doing? Yes? No? I just want to make sure that okay, Daisy is also doing good. Others? We have 10 people here.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Okay, perfect, Anuka. Please continue. I'm gonna take 2 minutes break. Okay, please continue. Hey Sai, so today we're gonna not take up to 9:30. We'll just wind up in next 10 to 50 minutes. Okay. So, okay, guys, are we done with cloud? I think I've given you more than 5 minutes. Is it done? For Manisha has done that. Good. How about others? Okay. So, guys, you can take your time and complete this. Okay. Um, let's talk about it. Okay. So this is called management console. Okay. All you have to do is to sign up and the root user account you just logged in, and now you have access to here in this through this management console. You have access to the AWS global infrastructure. AWS has hundred of data centers. If you look at AWS global infrastructure, uh, this is what AWS footprint is. They have got 99 availability zones. So consider availability zones as the data center itself. Just imagine. But if you look at the dictionary meaning, the availability zone is called one or more discrete data centers. Okay. But just for the understanding sake, understand it's same as data center. 99, 100 data centers. They are in the 31 launched regions, and they're coming up with again some regions. So if you look at this here, they are coming up in Auckland. They already have in Australia, in Melbourne and Sydney. They're coming up in, you could just hover your mouse, Singapore. They already have Malaysia. They are coming in. Thailand. They are coming in. They already have in Hyderabad and in Mumbai. So they're coming up in Israel. So they're coming up. The work in progress. They are setting up the data centers in these regions as well. Okay. And you have access through this management console. You have access to all those regions that they have their data centers in. I can select Mumbai. I can select Singapore. I can select Ohio. I can select London. I can select all the regions that you have. These are all called regions. Ireland, London, Paris, Stockholm, Tokyo. So, on what basis will I select this? Right? That's again one question. On what basis? I have all the options. That's good. But why do I select a particular region? Do we have reasoning for that? This itself a very very important question to understand. Why would I select Mumbai, or why would not I select Singapore, or why would I select no, Ohio? And what are the factors that I should consider while before I select a particular region and deploy my application there? What do you guys think? What are the decisions or factors that I should consider before selecting a region?
A user base.
Right, absolutely. So if I am setting up, creating a infrastructure or application where most of my users are going to be in Australia, let's say that, why would I provision my service in Mumbai? Unnecessary delay latency I would be creating. So I would select a region, Sydney, mostly, or Melbourne, right? Mostly I would select that. So that the servers, the users of Australia can get a better response time. So yes, user base, absolutely. What else? So user base, very good point.
Any trade regulations, like if you're based out of EU, you should be within EU, something of that sort.
Yes, absolutely. Government regulations, we call it, Anuka. Yes, absolutely. That's one of the important factors that some government regulations put these conditions that the data cannot leave the country, something like that. So yes, government regulations, absolutely. This play an important role. What else? So user base and latency. Let me put this way. So latency, if latency is utmost priority for you, so I would like to be near to the user base. So latency is one of the factors, because if more the distance, so there will be latency, right? So network packet has to travel back and forth and creating unnecessary delay latency, right? We want to avoid that. So latency, government regulations, yes, very important. I'm going to add two more to this list. Not all the services are present in all the regions. So service availability. So when I say service availability, I'm talking about these services. We have services like the infrastructure, like the servers for EC2 is the service name, right? We have Kubernetes for EKS, right? We have databases, so many databases. So not all these are called services. So not all the services are present in all the regions. So service availability is one of the regions, and the cost is also not same for all the services across all the regions. So mostly these five are regions, okay. But if you look at on the, that's how one, this is the least most, because cost hardly difference hardly matters. There are a few dollars difference, but is one of the factors, could be one of the factors. So these are the main regions. Why would I select a particular region, right? That's good. So we'll leave it as for now, okay. We'll explore this tomorrow. So those who are really interested and looking forward to learn here, I would highly encourage them to create an account so that they can relate better. Okay, that's the simple reason I'm asking everybody. Everybody will be setting up our own infrastructure, guys. Let me give you a interesting fact. Okay, so when AWS was launched in 2007, there were three services they came up with. Three services in 2007. Three services: EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud for the servers. I told you about the use case, right? The servers, the first use case is EC2, stand for Elastic Compute Cloud. Again, use case is servers. This is the first service they came up with. Second was S3, Simple Storage Service. S3, we call it Simple Storage Service. Fun fact, okay. I hope everybody used Netflix. Yes, here Netflix. No, for
Yeah.
content. Right. Do you know where all these contents reside of Netflix? All the content that you see in Netflix, where it resides?
Cloud.
In S3. Yes, in the cloud, but where? In S3. It is a simple storage service. It is the storage is the use case here. So S3 is the storage service. Your entire Netflix content that you see, or the Dropbox that you use, they use S3 behind the scene. The entire and Amazon Prime videos should not be any brainer where they would be residing from Amazon itself. So S3, right? Third service was SQS, Simple Queue Service. Simple Queue Service. So these three services. So simple queue service we use for the development, like messaging queue, right? So to process messages, uh, message processing, for these kind of operations we use SQS. So these are the three services they launched in 2007. Any guesses how many services they have right now after 16 years? Guess. Anybody? They have 200 plus services. Their services is full of this. So they had only EC2 on the compute. They have storage S3, and they have SQS. This is the three service they have only. They came up with. But now if you look at this, they have use case in everywhere, on the containers, on the database, on the machine learning, on the media services, on Internet of Things, on game development. They have service all across in the robotics, in the quantum technologies, satellite. They just name it and they have a service. So basically, they are trying to solve users' problem. They are basically doing automation here. All the things that you see is automation. If you want to look at the automation around you, look at the cloud service provider. They are automating and making things simple for the end user. I'm gonna show you along the way. Okay, you'll understand slowly. But that's what they are doing. Automation. 200 plus services, and they're still growing. They are growing. They're competing with each other. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there. Cloud. They're expanding. So it's gonna be there. That's how it is, right? So, guys, we'll just stop it here at this moment. I would like you to give some time to create some account and get interested in this journey, learning journey, right? That's what I would tell you. So, guys, I'm hoping everybody, those who will be joining tomorrow, please create an account and we'll talk about a lot of things. We'll talk about how do we create servers, how do we deploy applications. We'll talk about security services. We'll talk about networking. We'll talk about a lot of things. Okay, that's all, guys, for today. Okay. I'll be expecting everybody to create the account. Okay, that's all. Any question, guys? Feel free to ask. We are done for today.
From tomorrow onwards, it
Thank
is
you.
paid session.
Yes, yes, we're gonna continue. It's gonna continue. We have session has already started for today, from today itself, Surya. It's gonna continue.
Okay. Means tomorrow onwards, it is closed group. Just checking.
Right, right, Surya. So take decision. Okay, if you are looking
Okay.
forward, just take decision. Okay, that's how I would say.
I have
Okay.
a question, Roshan.
Go
Actually,
ahead.
I
Go
am
ahead.
unavailable for many weeks. Uh, so I was thinking, should I continue this session, or you have a similar course coming up in maybe like early
Uh,
July?
yeah, it's gonna be after definitely 2, 3 months
Mm.
because not see anyway we will have a recorded session for everything.
But
So
with
you might
hands-on, I wanted to do on the live session the hands-on because it's easier to ask questions or.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So
So do you
if you
think just watching the recordings will help if I
no,
enroll
you need to
now and
practice
miss?
it. You need to practice it. Okay. So that's what I expect everybody. Okay. To in the sessions also. I would see in these 2 hours. I can give you 10, 15 minutes, but I cannot wait for half an hour for every
Yeah,
activity.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yes, yes,
So
yes.
you need to practice after the session for sure. If you want to do everything, whatever we are doing. So that I always expect from my learners that you please practice whatever being done in the session. So yes, it's always good to have interaction. See, it's like a most like a discipline, I would say. Why we join live sessions? It's like a discipline. You fix a time, and you know that there's going to be a live person meeting you and talking you through, and you can ask live questions. So that what interests you and keep you motivated along the way. Recorded session, we all know, right? We have recordings everywhere, and we don't watch it. As, that's the fact, right? So why we join live sessions? For the discipline, I would say, and obviously for the easy learning. If
Yeah.
somebody is giving you the learning in the easiest possible manner, I would love to join that particular trainer. So that
Mm.
I see like this.
Yeah.
Even that's what I look in a trainer. If even if I'm looking like, let's say in my early days when I was looking for some learning sessions, I was looking for who would provide me the learning in easiest possible manner, who would connect with me, right? So yes, these life sessions help. I always mention that.
Yeah, but if we miss some, like maybe two or three continuous sessions, so is it okay to make? Will it be okay to make up
You need to
via the
practice it.
recording?
You need to make sure that you are up to the date. I may not be able to take care of that, right? Because
No, no,
I'll be
but I'm
proceeding.
saying, is it possible
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do it
If,
with the live, with the recordings? They would not be
if
allowed.
you are just missing, if you're just missing 2 or 3 sessions, I would
Hmm.
definitely say because you're getting the entire week to watch the recording and practice it. And if you're already, let's say, some of the things. So you would be motivated to watch the recording. Uh,
Yeah, sure.
so that's what I would say. Let's say you have attended my next weekend session, and I'm
Hmm.
already in a topic. So you would
Hmm.
know what you would be interested to know what I have taught in the next session, and you would go and just kind of discipline and rewatch and practice it, and then come back the next week. And even if I missed one session, that's fine. You just
Hmm.
need to make sure you are up to date. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And the sessions will finish at 9:30. Is that what is
That
planned?
that would be right. That would be right. Maximum 9:30. Yes.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
So today's session will be available, recording session anyway.
Yes, yes, yes. We are recording. We are recording. Yes, Surya.
So
We
it
are
will be
calling.
sent a letter. Okay, after this class you are sending, right? In our
Uh,
batch.
every session would be recorded and shared with all the participants.
In WhatsApp group or by mail?
Okay, I think I showed you right last time. In one of the sessions I showed you how it will be shared, right? We have. Let me show you. We create a YouTube group, okay, and you get access to that group. You get access to that particular link, and you join. You just click on that link, and all the recordings are there. Let me show you from the last batch. Let me show you. Um, okay, this is how you would get the recording. So you would be getting a link like this. You'd be getting a link like this YouTube playlist, and only until you are not subscribed enrolled, you would not have access. Only the people those who have enrolled would have access to this, and you would have this recorded session like this. Like right now, I'm seeing this February batch. This they have this recording, so many recordings. That's what you would be given, like a everyday recorded session.
And the next session will be around 2 or 3 months later.
Next batch, right? Yeah, yeah. That so
Yeah.
you just saw right the course, vast course. You would so we cannot complete this in 8 to 10 hours, right? Yeah, that will take some time. Good things always take time.
No, no, I'm just thinking because I have a lot of things planned. So if I cannot
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
join
That would be right. That would be right. It will take 2 months for sure. So
2 months,
plan.
so I have to either I join now or I join after 3 months, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You need to plan accordingly. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'll join
Sure.
tomorrow's session, first half tomorrow's session, and then decide.
Sure, 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 sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining. We'll meet tomorrow, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.